Gentlemen, we are back.
Welcome back, everyone. How have you been doing?
Good. Really good now that I have some ice cream.
I don't think I can keep up with the monotony here. I am not a robot.
Nor are you Arnold.
All your base all belong to us.
Oh, you had to go with that meme.
It's iconic.
True.
So what has everyone been doing over this 2-month-long vacation?
I've been traveling everywhere. I traveled to the North Pole.
First month was supposed to be a vacation. Second month was when we had to come back. But then, well, got a second job as a freelance videographer, and well, I'm basically working like 7 days a week.
I'm working at Wells in a negative 20-degree factory, working ice cream.
I feel bad for both of you. I work in a nice heated building with dangerous predators.
Yep. I probably ship you some ice cream too. In fact, I'm willing to bet you get ice cream from my factory.
They're only dangerous predators, I mean, if you provoke them, right? And if they're actually on the hunt. Other than that, they're probably just docile.
Yeah, I bet you pet them.
I do pet them, but then there was that one guy in the summer of '07. But we don't talk about that.
Ooh. Okay.
Or that one customer.
Yeah, the one customer that I'm not allowed to talk about. In fact, now that I just mentioned that, someone might come over and shoot me. They're gonna send a Terminator after me.
Although I'm pretty curious.
I am pretty curious too, but we do not want Terminators.
No, I mean I'm curious. No, I'm curious about that customer.
Same here.
Anyway, starting the timer.
Oh, what movie are we doing?
Oh, we are doing the if you couldn't tell from our cold opening, we are doing the 80s classic
Terminator.
The Terminator.
Yes.
About freaking time.
I don't think it was James Cameron's debut. I think it was his second film that he made.
Technically his first directorial debut was Piranha 2, but I
think he was ashamed of it.
He was ashamed of it, like David Fincher was ashamed of Alien 3. Yet another connection to aliens. I don't know why, but I kind of have a feeling like this year on the podcast is gonna be like a lot of James Cameron or Arnold connections or just 80s connections.
Well, look at our
I don't know,
schedule.
it's just a feeling. What schedule?
What schedule?
Well, if we ignore next month, don't we have like Predators and stuff?
Predators, yes.
What do you think of the Terminator movie?
Can I watch it again?
I like it. What?
Can I watch it again?
Can you watch? oh, I see.
Yes, you may. Afterwards, after we praise it for its special effects, for its time, as well as acting. Because
it's music.
It's music. Oh, iconic music.
Oh yeah.
And what's really weird is that I think that the composer, that was his only composing gig.
Yeah, this is
Brad Feidel.
Feidel.
Yeah, Brad Feidel. That was his only gig actually as a composer for a movie.
Actually, no, that's incorrect, Tyler. He did Terminator 2 as well.
Oh, well, the original theme was his, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I just remember that he wasn't really in much movies.
But regardless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I liked this movie, even though it was pretty much... I saw that after Terminator 2. But it definitely had some context to it.
Well, of course, it's the first movie.
Yeah, but as we all know, most people prefer the second movie for the most part. Not saying everyone.
But that's just what you hear most.
Consensus. It's a general consensus. Everyone loves T2. And what's not to like? It improves.
Okay, and we'll talk about that some other time. Right now, we need to focus on the original. And also, gentlemen, just laying down some ground rules. If you can't help it, you can make jokes based on real world, but no talking of what is currently going on the internet.
Well, that's half the fun.
It is half the fun, but I think we hear it so much more. This should be a time where we just turn our brains off so we can just be entertained.
Is this because of Dark Fates?
What did I just say?
Knew it. Okay.
Oh, boy.
The wish is I command. We will not talk about that what shall not be named, known as the Dark Fates.
But didn't you just mentioned it again? You are such a troll. If you don't shut up, I will tell everyone what your forum avatar is.
What?
Your forum avatar.
Okay.
Damn, I thought that would work.
Just so everybody knows, this is what I have to put up with.
Oh, please. There's a lot worse.
Alright, anyway. Basic premise of the Terminator, before we get into the nitty-gritty, is that in the distant year of 2029, only 9 years left, people. We missed the purge, but we'll probably get the rise of the machines. Anyway, Skynet, the global network processor of artificial intelligence, is on the verge of losing a war that pits machines against humanities. In a last-ditch effort, they decided to send one of their creations through time to the past. Well, to us, the past, but to the people in 1984, it's the present, because it says in the titles it's the president. It's the present.
Yes.
To kill the mother of the unborn resistance leader John Connor, but the resistance sends one of their own in order to protect her, and so it's now a cat and mouse game of trying to ensuring that either the humans survive or they lose.
Yep, that sums it up. I think we all know why we're here. What do we think of the robot? What do we think of this cold-hearted robot that feels no remorse, no pity, and will not stop until we're all dead?
It is I mean, for something so simple, it is.
Hell, terrifying.
It's intimidating.
Oh, absolutely.
All you have to do is just pretty much cover a basic human skeleton in chromium metal, and give it red eyes, and there you go. You have the stuff of nightmares.
You know what else is the stuff of nightmares? That quote that Kyle says, it even takes effect way late in the movie when it doesn't even have legs. It will not stop going after Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just crawling. Ugh.
Ian?
Well, this film is... Let's just get this out of the way. It's an awesome piece of artwork.
Yes.
And even if we remove the time in which it was made, if it was made today, exactly how it is now, with all of our modern special effects, I think it'd still be just as good, simply due to the story.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. If it was made today, there would just... I mean, they would still make the Arnold animatronic, but it would probably be partially covered. Some of it would be touched up with digital effects.
Mostly because of that one iconic scene where he's taking out his eye.
I honestly don't mind it at all. I'm used to that. That's 80s special effects.
Yeah, that's 80s special effects.
What's really impressive is some of the other practical effects that are in there. Like, you can definitely tell there's miniatures and even forced perspective.
Oh yeah, Stan Winston behind us, I believe.
Yes, he is.
Of course, the master of pract.
Mm-hmm.
Master of practical effects.
Mm-hmm. Behind the Alien Queen, the Terminator endoskeleton, the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
He even indirectly helped with Predator.
Mm-hmm.
Just telling him to put 4 mandibles.
Mm-hmm. All right. Everyone, how about, what were all of your experiences with Terminator? Like, how did you come across this film? I didn't think that was that funny of a question.
No, I was not expecting that question. It's kind of embarrassing.
Oh dear. Tyler goes first. It's embarrassing.
God damn it. Okay. So, I'm with my dad. We're flipping into channels, and we happen to get onto that scene. If anyone wants to know what that scene is,
watch the movie.
Hold on. Watch the movie, but I'll just give you a hint. Nautius Maximus.
Yes, and Dad's like, "Oh, it's Terminator. We're watching this." And there's me, 7-year-old.
Oh gosh,
watching
7
this.
years
Like,
old.
7 years old watching this and not even question it. I'm like, okay, they're having a hug time. They're hugging each other. That's what I thought.
Passionately hugging. Oh my god.
That was my first experience with the Terminator. Then we got to watch the beginning because it was a marathon, and I was terrified.
Ah.
Oh jeez. Well, mine's nowhere near that bad. Or good, depending on your point of view. That's a great story, Tyler. Write that down.
Oh, I know. My life is full of stories like this.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw it on TV one day, and I recorded it.
Ah,
That's it.
Nice.
It was a couple years ago.
I do believe I was screaming to my dad and panic because the red eyes haunted me as 7 years old.
Uh-huh.
I remember screaming for Dad as I was trying to sleep because I swear I saw something red.
Well, to be fair, your father did let you, at 7 years old, watch a rated R movie.
Not the first.
What was the first?
Trying to remember.
Yeah. Let's see. So my experience with Terminator was, of course, with just the second movie. Saw that first. And after, and then I remember one time going to Blockbuster. If any, yeah, I know.
Wow, that doesn't date this experience at all.
We are freaking old.
I was in middle school at the time. All right, so definitely in the double digits when I saw it. So I rented it and watched it, and really didn't think much of it, but I kind of knew that you couldn't have Terminator 2 without Terminator 1. And yeah, that scene, didn't really know what the hell was happening. And that's pretty much it. But you know, in rewatching these movies, I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing what they did with technically. This is a low budget movie.
Yeah, let me find the budget.
Estimated
$6 million.
Estimated about $6.4 million.
Yeah,
and that's low budget.
That's low budget for Hollywood.
Yeah, I know. And the 80s.
What's a low budget for today's decade?
I have no idea.
Well, it depends on the movie.
I think they consider anywhere from $50 million to be low budget to now.
Mm-hmm.
Anything below $50 million is inconceivable.
Mm-hmm. And it is kind of funny to see some of the things from the 80s that are like the days before such and such.
Hey, remember when nightclubs were $4.50? Man, I wish times were cheap now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The days before. Yes, the days before you can actually call your girlfriend's apartment and accidentally talk dirty to her roommate, and not go to jail for being a creeper.
Oh yeah. Or the times we had to use payphones.
Oh yeah,
remember
those?
Mm-hmm. I don't think you got to experience a payphone, Ian.
No.
I did.
For anyone who's wondering how old I am, I'm 21. So, and I'm the youngest one on here.
Frickin' in my town, we had one payphone.
Oh, geez,
Well, there is a payphone up in town near my house. I think it still works, but no one uses it. Of course.
I don't know if we ever had payphones. I think by the time cell phones were commonplace, there was really no need for a payphone.
Oh, I didn't get to tell you, but my payphone is a telephone booth. Yeah, so it's obscure and obsolete.
The old school one, like the one that Superman went into?
Yes.
That kind.
Holy crap.
Yeah. You literally opened the booth, it had like a phone book and everything.
Oh, included phone book? What a steal.
I know! Oh, man. But, seriously though, this movie puts the terror in robots.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, like, how many movies was Arnold in before this?
Jeez, I don't know.
Was he in Conan before or after?
I think Conan was the first Conan was definitely before this. I think 79.
So he was. He was used to playing heroes, though not that widely known.
Not that widely known. And then there was that Pumping Iron with Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah. So, honestly, it's kind of weird because Arnold could have been very, very typecast because of this movie. He had a risk of being typecast as that big. Kind of like how Danny Trejo is typecast every time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of odd. He wasn't really typecast like that.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Of course, the 80s and 90s were actually early 90s was definitely his peak of stardom.
Oh yeah.
And I think most of it could be attributed to the Terminator.
It's mostly the Terminator, Predator, Total Recall.
Well, I think it started with the Terminator. Maybe Conan. That's a movie I haven't seen yet.
I think he was in Hercules. Yeah, he was like, Hercules was transported into New York, and he was throwing a shot put in discus.
Oh,
That's right,
jeez.
Yeah. Don't remember what that movie was, but I just have a vague recollection of it.
Okay. And you know what? He actually does pull up the performance well. I mean, his first appearance. I mean, this is actually kind of a warm-up exercise we used to do in theater class, fully clothed. I will add.
You have me scared now that you have to put that disclaimer in.
It was pretty much just based on yoga, where you just bend at the waist, and then they say one vertebrae at a time, just roll into a standing position. I was like, I can never feel my spine, rolling one vertebrae at a time, and I can't feel it. And then when we get to a close up of his face, and you see the eyes are just like, it's just like, I mean, even that is robotic, stiff and robotic.
Yeah. Let's talk about how we get to the present from the future. Naked time travel.
Oh yeah. Oh jeez.
Naked time travel. Right before a hot tub time machine. Okay.
What do we say about this?
See the Naked Arnold, guys.
I'm saying, like, hey, I mean, times really never change in Hollywood.
No, they don't. So I wonder how many ladies appreciated that.
I'm pretty sure this might have been added into the movie because they knew that mostly guys were gonna see this movie with their girlfriends and or wives, and so they just needed to, and so they decided to give something to them to say, we appreciate you, we appreciate what you're doing.
So
here's some Arnold butt.
Here's some Arnold butt for the ladies.
Guys, I'm gonna do a quick shout out here to another YouTuber called Decker Shadow.
I heard of him.
Yeah, he reviewed this movie and he pointed something out to me before I watched it, and now I can't unsee it.
Oh
Lord, please don't.
What is it?
I don't want to know.
Okay.
When Arnold is walking up to the three punks, you can see his Enough said.
You know what's strange? I thought the same thing when I've rewatched this movie. One of the earlier times I've rewatched this.
Oh, Lord.
And also at one time, I swear you can see everything. My friend says it's just the way he's holding the spear.
But yeah, comparing how freaking Naked Arnold is like, he's just confident, just walking stiffly, compared to Reese, who is just like timid.
I think what's kind of amazing is that without words, they show us like who's the man and who's the machine, and also seeing all those scars littered across Reese's body, is that those scars have the story to tell as well.
Each scar does.
Yeah, and he gets up as like the wind is knocked out of him. Yeah, have you ever been kicked in the ribs before?
I've had a football thrown to the ribs.
Okay, your body just like locks up, and you can breathe, but it's hard to breathe out.
Mm-hmm.
You get the wind kicked out of you.
Oh yes.
It's like a solar plexus punch.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay. So, let me get this out of the way. Would you think of Sarah Connor, strong female protagonist?
Not initially, when we first meet her.
Of course not. I mean, she's living a regular life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And
no one
something I enjoy is how they show her growth.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
And now, all everybody thinks about is badass Sarah Connor.
She was actually my fantasy woman when I was in middle school.
Okay, actually, I can make a comparison. Here, this is kind of funny. So, I'm gonna go off topic for a movie. Think of Evil Dead with Ash. Was Ash really that badass in the first movie?
Boy, I've only seen that movie once, but I don't think so.
No, he was kind of a lamey, screaming little piss. It's kind of the same thing with Sarah. Sarah, for a long time, was screaming until near the end. In fact, she has more brownie points than Ash because Ash doesn't really get ass kickery until movie 2. While Sarah gets her first ass kickery in the end of the movie. You're Terminator, But you know what creeped me out the most as a kid? It's those skulls being crushed
Geez.
under the tank trash. That was just creepy. No, the thousands of people dead. Not even the remains are sacred. Practically rubble.
Yeah, I don't know how long it has been since I saw this movie, but apparently some of the things that never really did affect me back then do now, and one was, of course, Reese's story, which was, of course, very reminiscent, is like the Holocaust. You know, the concentration camps and everything, burning a barcode on the forearm. The one thing that I thought was sad, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing sadder than Reese telling pretty much saying that he's a concentration camp survivor. Is the two little kids that are sitting in front of a TV set, and then it cuts to what they're looking at, and it's just a flame inside the casing.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the only thing that they have. All they have are the stories from their parents telling about how they used to just sit in front of this device and get lost in a new world. But this is their world. Fire and rubble.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. I mean, that entire sequence of the refugee camp is just, that hits hard.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can kind of see why Reese is just so adamant on protecting Sarah. Not only because Connor saved him, and also because he believes in him. I mean, like, he's loyal to it, but because he doesn't want to live in that hell anymore.
Who does?
Who would? I mean, he wants a better future. He wants to make a better future than the one he lives in.
Though, I got so much stuff on my mind.
Oh yeah.
One that's really infamous, though, doesn't really have to do with the story, though, is the author of one of the books that accused James Cameron of trampling on the copyrights. If you remember that one.
This was based on a book?
No, but it's very similar to his book, and he pretty much nailed his Orion company for it.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember the guy's name.
Right here. Harlan Ellison.
Harlan Ellison, there we are. He was kind of known for being a douche.
He loved the movie, apparently.
Yeah.
He believed that the screenplay was based on a short story and episode of The Outer Limits he had written titled Soldier, and threatened to sue for infringement.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Orion settled
in
1986 and gave Ellison an undisclosed amount of money and an acknowledgement credit in later prints of the film. Some accounts of the settlement state that Demon with a Glass Hand, another Outer Limits episode written by Ellison, was also claimed to have been plagiarized by the film, but Ellison explicitly stated that the Terminator, quote, was a ripoff of Soldier rather than Demon with a Glass Hand.
But I think ripoff is too harsh of a word.
Yeah, I haven't seen that episode, so I couldn't say. I can't comment. But
I mean, I think maybe... Oh.
Go ahead.
I think maybe back in the 80s, I mean, it's easy... I mean, ripoff is pretty true, but nowadays, now that...
Well, what counts as a ripoff? That's the thing.
I think maybe if you're actually not even trying to hide that you're ripping it off, like maybe... Like, I think there's actually a movie called Turkish Star Wars.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, James Cameron made this movie based on a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, how... This is kind of BS, how Mr. Ellison here would say it's pretty much a ripoff of his own creation when someone made it off of a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had no prior knowledge that this thing exists, I mean, it's not like he was the world-famous author here. He was a little bit well known in the sci-fi circles. And so, I think it's kind of, as I mentioned, he's a bit of a douche.
Okay.
In fact, I don't think even, oh god, you know it's bad if the original cast members of Star Trek don't like him.
Oh.
Yeah, and the Trekkie fandom there.
Oh, wow. Alright, so aside from Arnold, we have Linda Hamilton, who plays Sarah Connor, who was in what was that show that Bruce Willis was in before?
Moonlight?
Moonlight, yeah. She was in Moonlight. I don't know if that was either before or after the Terminator.
Probably after, because Die Hard came out what year?
80
5.
80, I think 85.
Terminator came out what year?
84.
It'd probably be before Terminator.
Probably be before Terminator. So we have another actor who's more associated with TV comedies being put into an action film.
Honestly, I just find it funny that Michael Biehn is in there.
Michael Biehn?
Biehn, whatever. Sorry if we mispronounced your name, Mr. Sir.
and so, yeah, Michael Biehn, it plays Kyle Reese, the Protector, and those are pretty much the three main characters that you need to know about. However, there are a couple more. Most notably,
Bishop!
Lance Hendrickson.
Woo!
Yes.
He's in it, but he dies. Boo.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of sad.
And Bill Paxton has a momentary cameo in the beginning.
Oh man, he didn't do well after Colonial Marines.
Yeah,
he became a punk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Is that who that was?
He gets killed by one.
Yeah,
he was the blue hair, spiky haired punk.
Yeah. James Cameron loved reusing people he liked.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you work well with some character, with actors, when you trust them, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. But but yeah, like the actors are good. In fact, I think one actor that stands out that we will never know his name. I don't know his name. The Black Chief.
The chief of police. Yeah. I think my favorite moment actually was they're back in the office trying to get a hold of Sarah Connor. Can't reach to her, and they're all stressed and tired. And they're hounded by the press. And he goes, "You give me a cigarette," and Hendrickson gives him a pack of cigarettes. And then he realizes, oh, he has a lit cigarette in his other hand. So he just puts it down. I mean, it's kind of a good way to show just how busy and how they have a lot on their minds.
Oh yeah, especially when he just comes off as kind of charismatic too. Somewhat of an asshole.
He's a charismatic asshole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He didn't really come across as an asshole to me.
With how he interrupts Henderson.
Oh, that's kind of a running gag. That was kind of a running gag. Yeah.
So he's more charismatic than most people, but that one dude.
I'm looking at the concept art right now that Cameron basically had drafted up, or he made. It actually rather terrifying. This is just like based on his nightmare. I'll send you guys this, John. Put up a screenshot of this. It's
okay.
It's outright terrifying.
But I actually want to watch the Soldier episode of Harley Ellison's Outer Limit and actually see for myself if it's really
quote unquote plagiarized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to do that too.
I wonder, is The Outer Limits on Netflix?
Don't think so.
Well,
to the internet for that one.
It's
Yes.
internet for that one.
But you know what made this movie work? Car chases!
Car chases.
Car chases!
Not just
Why?
car
Because-
chases. Truck chases.
Truck chases.
Yeah.
Yes.
Motorcycle
there's
chases
a-
with explosions of glamour.
Action movies today lack that kind of intensity of car chases. They have them, but they kind of
Even the Fast and Furious franchise.
Please don't even mention that.
I haven't seen Well, I've only seen one movie from that franchise. I think it was right in the middle. But
When
from
you take it down an airplane with a car, come on.
I didn't see that. That wasn't the movie I saw.
Okay.
But when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, okay, no.
But no, like I'm talking about like realistic car chases that are adrenaline pumping, not like the car chases like Fast and Furious do, where it's like Superman chasing. Good God.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. James Cameron doesn't, even though he likes to try to push the boundaries of technology, he does go for realism, almost, kind of like what Christopher Nolan does now.
Oh yeah. In fact, one of my favorite car chases was in the future.
Oh yeah, when they're shooting at that drone, and all I kept on thinking about, that poor soldier, he's gonna have whiplash a lot. He just kept on getting knocked back and forth.
Oh, I know. Though I noticed there was a special effect error with that soldier because he looked like a doll after the crash.
Yeah.
It's like, that poor soldier, he was so dead he turned to a doll.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of stuntmen, can we just give respect and praise to the stuntman who was lit on fire and did not scream?
I thought that was Arnold.
I don't know if that was Arnold.
I heard somewhere that Arnold did his own stunts. Where did I hear that?
I mean, yeah, he does most of his own stunts.
He would do most of his own stunts, yeah.
But there are some stunts that he needs to be able to give it to the stuntman.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, if it was a stuntman or if it was Arnold, I mean, mad props to you for just not screaming while being on fire.
Right.
That was me. I would just be go, ah! Ah! I'm on fire! I'm on fire!
I mean, George Carlin would say, like, set yourself on fire! Match that fire in your belly. Oh, George.
My mind just goes to Dragon. You walk through fire!
Oh my God.
It's dragon-proof scales. Oh, you're a demon. I know a demon when I see one. No human legs are that skinny.
God. But
Oh boy.
yeah, there's so many action scenes in this that are so awesome. In fact, like my biggest props for Mr. Cameron is how nothing feels like an asshole.
Yeah.
He could have easily left out how the Terminator could find Sarah. He could have easily just had him Sarah apparently had a homing beacon on her that the Terminator could find her, whatever, without problem. But he goes an extra mile to show how he finds her every time.
Mm-hmm. Even pretty much giving an excuse as to how can this machine that's not really human still do normal human things like sweat.
Yeah.
Because it was designed that way.
Yeah. Designed that way. Has living blood and tissue on this outer skeleton.
Good detail.
Not to mention Not to mention one of the details is I didn't even missed it. Like when we were watching it, it's like, how did you know what Sarah looks like? Oh yeah, you found a picture of her.
Yeah, he missed it because he had to give praise for Cameron covering his bases. It was like right after the phone call after he shoots her roommate, and he missed it.
But honestly, that kind of film detail is very sort of lacking in a lot of movies, where like when they do like how they locate someone, they don't really go into detail how they find someone. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, you're missing some world building and details and such.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just to give you an example, Ian, of how what I mean by how you find someone in a city as big as Los Angeles. Home Alone 2 had Kevin meeting Marv and Harry 4 times without any way of knowing. In New York City. You know, that city that's popular with how many people?
A lot.
Yeah. And that's sad, because I still kind of enjoy that movie.
I do enjoy it too, mostly for Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Well, yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, with the Terminator, it avoids that pitfall, so I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what did you think when the truck exploded and you thought that was the end of the Terminator? And then Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, goes to the reach and is like, we did it! And you see this thing rising from the fire.
Why won't you just die already?
Die!
I love it. I mean, that's like your basic horror.
In fact, a lot of people call this a horror movie.
It pretty much has elements of a lot of genres. It's a noir, it's a sci-fi, it's a war film, it's a horror.
Alien.
Cameron knows how to do a blender.
Mm-hmm.
Alien.
We call that the Cameron mix.
Yeah, it's a romance.
Romance.
Alien. I feel it was inspired by Alien. The alien came back after we thought it was dead.
Oh yeah, that's right. But I like that. I mean, and I even love this. I love the design of. I love the design of the Terminator. I love the design of the future of the drones,
And the tanks.
Everything. I love the sounds. I even love the use of colors. I mean,
It's so grim and drab.
The color of the lasers are purple. I mean, would you actually ever think them to be purple in a sci-fi?
I mean, this came after Star Wars, which had red and green.
And blue.
Was it blue in the original?
Oh, sorry. I'm just thinking of lightsabers.
Well, yeah, lightsaber, laser. But I'm talking about like laser beams, like
Yeah, green. The Death Star.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like red and green.
Oh, what about Chewbacca's bowcaster?
I thought that was red.
No, I think that might have been green. Might have been green in the new trilogy.
But regardless,
So,
Mr. Cameron didn't follow Star Wars trends, which is good.
he does seem to like he does seem to like cool colors. Like he likes to use blue, the color blue for his lighting. You see it in Aliens and you see it in Terminator, and a lot of his movies. And I guess purple just kind of fits in with that.
Oh yeah. You know, one thing that kind of made me sad is one of the female soldiers that got vaporized.
Oh yeah.
Like, she doesn't even have a corpse, so like, freaking, what was left? Nothing?
Ash.
Yeah. It's like, ugh.
Alright, so for a movie that this iconic, there's bound to be there's a lot of good moments. So, what are all of your favorite moments?
My favorite moment is the bar.
The bar, yeah, the bar.
The bar when like, unlucky coincidences where she, lucky or unlucky, depending on how you count it, when she drops a bottle, goes bends over to pick it up, the Terminator looks in her direction, misses her, and then after a couple of minutes he finds her, pulls out the gun, you see the red laser shining into the camera, like, and you feel like you're the one almost about to be shot at.
Oh yeah.
And the look on her face, and she's like almost shell-shocked, like as it's stunned, seeing this laser on her head. That's the most iconic moment for me. Along with the finale.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Ian?
For me, I don't know. Well, it doesn't have as many memorable shots as Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait till we get to that one.
We will. The fan will demand it. I guarantee it. I will put down $20 if I had $20 to spare. But my favorite scenes probably well, I like just watching the Terminator go around trying to find Sarah. And it's very creepy and methodical how he just works his way down the phone book.
Yeah. And also known as a phone book killer.
And
I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people's this thing that's the part that most people probably remember is the police station.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to talk about. That scene that gives Arnold's iconic line, "I'll be back."
yes.
And and the other one is when after he gets run over by the tank truck, gets back up and he just looks at the guy and says, "Get out." Now the reason why I like that moment is because it's pretty much because they do the same thing in Terminator 2. Only with a helicopter.
But yeah, honestly, there's not really that much to critique. It's really a cult classic. I don't really have anything else to say about it.
Can we think of any gripes about the movie?
Okay, one thing you have to know about Mr. Cameron, he's very methodical. He makes sure there is no gripes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
From what I've seen, yes, really... except for Avatar.
I think the only gripes that I have is how 80s it is. But it's almost like a little slap. It's a slap in the face and also kind of an assault on the eyes. I mean, like that, the hair and fashion that was acceptable back then.
I mean, okay, I think I call that a time capsule, dude. I call that a time capsule. There's nothing to be bashful on that one.
I know, but that is just, that's nitpicking right there. It's a non-issue
Yeah.
at that point. No, I don't think I really I guess I don't really have any gripes. I mean,
It's paced well. It's nothing. It doesn't feel slow. Doesn't feel slogged. Action scenes are good.
mm-hmm.
The romance scene was good.
And I'm just glad, and even that didn't drone on for too long either.
No.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if there's anything that you have a problem with it, I mean,
It's nitpicking at its finest.
I know, yeah.
Although, John, I have a question since you're the film expert. When did the whole,
Right.
two characters hooking up right before something bad happens start? At least in this film, there was a point to it. John's gotta be
When did-
conceived somehow.
Uh-huh.
No, does it have to be Kyle? I have to wonder. It's like, or is it gonna be anyone?
And I don't know. I think it might have had to be Kyle. But either way, when did it start? Let's see, I definitely
Third, three-fourths through it.
no. When did the no? You're talking about the trend in movies when two characters hook up and then something bad happens.
Yes, because that seems to happen in this one, and it seems to be a recurring theme.
Okay, yeah, I want to ask, a recurring theme of what kind of films? Can you have a list?
In horror?
Well, this is not really horror, is it?
Well, has elements
Debatable.
of that.
I'll toss you a softball here. Alien Covenant.
Remember, I hate Alien Covenant.
Alright.
In fact, I would rather say Prometheus is better than Covenant.
I have to disagree with that one, but we'll get to that.
I'd probably now I don't really know. I can't really pinpoint when. This is just an assumption. An assumption, maybe a theory, if you will, that needs to be tested. But I theorize probably right around the 50s during the whole giant monsters thing, when that, and the threat of nuclear testing that created giant monsters, that kind of thing. Because there's this trend. I think there's this thing where teenagers go out to an isolated spot, so that they can get jiggy with it, as Will Smith used to say.
I mean, they're teenagers.
They're
Hormones
teenagers,
are
yes.
running out of whack, so that's a thing.
And that's when they come across the scary thing, the dark shadow, and that kind of thing. It might have started with that whole, that old wives' tale with the man with the hook for his hand.
I think I know what you're talking about, Ian. You know what that trope's called? I'm glad to be alive sex. That's a trope.
I see where you're
Okay.
coming from.
Yeah, I'm assuming it probably started in the 50s.
Yep.
With all those giant monster movies and...
Giant monsters, aliens, all that kind of thing, and movies that are monsters that not where teenagers and adults are, where teenagers are the protagonists, where adults are the protagonists. That kind of thing. That's I'd estimate around that time. But the first movie that started it,
We don't know.
can't tell you, because I don't know,
We weren't live.
and I probably don't have it.
Yeah. Hell, there's like so many films that you can't tame anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. So, best Terminator movie?
Well, I've seen up through Terminator Salvation. I haven't seen Genesis or That Shall Not Be Named, which is known as Dark Fate. I will not name Dark Fate.
You just did.
No, I didn't. I said I wouldn't name Dark Fate.
John?
But you just did.
John? Your fate is looking rather dark.
I never knew you to be punny. And I haven't seen any of the movies after Rise of the Machines, even though I was.
Oh, you mean Terminator 2.0?
All right, so best Terminator movie. Well, since I've only seen the first three, I would have to say it is T2 is the better one, with the first one close behind it.
Same.
I'd have to say pretty much the same, yeah. Although I did enjoy Salvation.
Okay.
For me, it was T2, T1, T3, Salvation.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So, how about? All right. Before we actually do give our rating, one more thing: favorite bits of trivia associated with this movie.
Yay!
My favorite bit of trivia is Arnold was not originally meant to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
He was actually up for the role of Kyle Reese.
So yeah, Arnold was originally considered to play Kyle Reese instead of the Terminator. The bodybuilder turned actor had made a name of himself for The Long Goodbye, Pumpin' Iron, and Conan the Barbarian. And when Orion executive Mike Medavoy met the actor at a party, he sent him the script for consideration. James Cameron, however, had envisioned Reese as a non-bulky, more sensitive man, so he was less than enthusiastic about casting a former Mr. Universe in a pivotal role. Largely on Mr. Medavoy's insistence, he went out to meet and have lunch with Arnold anyways. He later admitted that he had planned to pick a fight with him so he could claim that the actor was impossible to work with. But against his expectation, they got along just fine. And Schwarzenegger showed great enthusiasm about the script in general, and this dark antagonist in particular, providing tips how this villain should behave. It was this then that Cameron had a change of heart and offered Schwarzenegger the title role of the Terminator, saying that this movie is not about the hero, it's about the Terminator. Arnold gladly accepted, even overruling his agent who advised him against playing villains. Cameron and Arnold have been good friends since.
Woo. Let's see.
Sometimes you gotta go with your gut.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. My favorite bit of trivia is that before Arnold was chosen for the role of the Terminator, there were several other actors. One of them was O.J. Simpson was actually considered for the role. And here's the ironic kind of funny, the best kind.
The best kind.
Producers feared he was too nice to be taken seriously as a cold-blooded killer. Well, we all know what happened then. For those of you who don't, O.J. Simpson was put on trial, one of the biggest televised trials of the 90s for
90s or 80s?
Late 80s, early 90s. I think
the glove does not fit.
For the murder of his wife. What was Anna Nicole Smith?
Yep,
that was it. He wasn't necessarily convicted, but the infamy has followed him to this day. And according to the trivia, in 1990, before his first trial, Dark Horse Comics printed issues using his likeness.
Lord.
I think those are highly collectible now. Like those Spider-Man posters.
Oh, yes.
Probably.
Ian?
Well, I'm all for preserving film, and in 2000...
No, I mean, what's your favorite bit of
I'm
trivia?
getting to that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm all for preserving film, especially the great films. And in 2008, the Terminator was deemed, quote, culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, end quote, by the Library of Congress and selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry.
Nice.
And yeah, in that film, there's a whole bunch of other films in there, like Jurassic Park, Disney, Cinderella, a whole bunch of them. Now, when does Dragons get into there?
Probably not until another 20 years.
Probably.
I mean, Terminator came out in 84, and it wasn't elected until 2008.
Yeah.
Yep. Almost 2.5 decades.
Cinderella came out in the 1950s, and it was just put in a couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Same year, actually, they put Jurassic Park in.
No. Off the record here. Ian, I want your thoughts. Which is the best robot?
Details.
Okay, if you had a fight against Arnold, Mr. Patrick, what's his name?
Robert Patrick.
Mr. Robert Patrick, or the female Terminator, who would you pick?
For who would win, or who I want to win?
Who would you want to win?
Well, Arnold. Who do I think would win in an all-out fight on an...
Well, who's your favorite robot?
Oh, Arnold. Well,
like, capabilities.
For abilities, I gotta say the T-1000.
Same.
T-1000.
I want Arnold to win, but I like that one better.
Oh, yeah.
So, Arnold's a tank. What's that make the T-1000?
I think that was actually in one of the production notes at a Porsche.
A Porsche? Meaning?
Okay, Arnold big, buff, he's wide, durable, and meant to mow down everything. The T-1000 is sleek, nimble.
Though, at least with the female android, she brought in built-in weapons.
I'm sorry. I had it. Sorry, there was a
mine out of the gutter, man.
There was a nice joke there. and her hand cannon wasn't too bad either.
Okay.
Am I right, boys?
You're right.
Where's my shirt?
Are you gonna hide?
No, I just need a shirt that says, I'm surrounded by idiots.
No, you need the one from Spaceballs. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Yes.
But, ratings?
Well, let's see.
9.5 out of 10.
I'd have to agree. 9.5 out of 10.
Same here. We're all in agreement. Great movie. Go highly recommend it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Perfecto.
Yes, a classic.
And to quote Wikipedia, in 2015, The Terminator was among the films included in the book 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. I highly agree.
All right, so that is our ratings, and that concludes today's podcast. Join us next month. Yes, we will be back next month, where we are going to review Venom.
To be clear, 2018 Marvel Venom. Not that other Venom movie
There
that
was
came
another-
out in 2018 that I apparently exist.
What other Venom?
There was
movie?
another one?
Apparently, yeah, not
What?
the superhero, but it was titled Venom in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
But to wrap up this review, dun, 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 dun.